Last year alone, the Criminal Investigation Division of the IRS identified $5.7 billion in tax fraud. Here to give us some red flags to watch out for is Supervisory Special Agent Allison Cleveland. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so yours is the only federal law enforcement agency authorized to investigate criminal tax fraud and violations. So what types of things do you see?
So IRS Criminal Investigation is the investigative arm of the law enforcement arm of the IRS. We investigate all types of crimes to include money laundering, tax evasion, narcotics trafficking, anything with a financial nexus.
Okay, so we're talking financial crimes, and one thing that we did see is that IRS data from last year, Criminal Investigations, your division, initiated about 1,400 tax investigations and then recommended almost half of those for prosecution. So you're doing a lot of legwork to make sure these are actual fraud situations, right?
We do ensure that, the perpetrators of these crimes are prosecuted to the full extent of the law. We ensure that it is not from mistakes that people make on their taxes, but more so willful violations of the law.
Speaking of mistakes, most of us would never intentionally commit tax fraud, but there are ways we can get scammed, like by preparers, right?
That is correct. The main thing we want to make sure people pay attention to is who they're choosing for their return preparers. Make sure that they're choosing reputable return preparers. For example, some things to look out for: individuals who prepare your tax return who do not have a preparer tax ID number would probably be someone you want to stay away from, and making sure that the people who are actually preparing the returns review it with you and make sure that you know exactly what's on your tax return. A taxpayer can ask the preparer for the preparer tax ID number. They also can go to irs.gov and they can find out more information about finding a reputable tax preparer as well.
Okay, and other things like making sure you don't have a ghost preparer. What's a ghost preparer?
So a ghost preparer would be one that does not sign the tax return. So if a tax preparer prepares your return, they should be signing it as a paid tax preparer. If they do not sign it, that is a red flag.
Okay, and then the IRS is never going to call you and hassle you or threaten you, right?
No, the IRS will not call you and threaten any lawsuits or any legal action. So if you receive those types of calls, you should hang up.
So that's a scam?
That is a scam.
Okay, and then maybe I see all these signs that say, big returns or, biggest bang for your buck kind of things. Is that also a red flag?
That should be a red flag. I mean, you should try to get what you are legally allowed to, as far as tax refund, what you're legally allowed to claim, and refunds that you are legally allowed to obtain. However, if it's a person who is just saying, oh, I can get you the biggest refund, you should be paying attention to that to make sure, is it really a legitimate refund?
Is that real?
Yes.
Okay, and then ID theft, also a major concern. How do we avoid that?
So make sure, again, this goes back to choosing a reputable tax preparer. They do have access to all of your financial information, your name, your what we call PII, your social security number. So you want to make sure when you're choosing someone, it's someone that you make that decision the same way you would make any large financial decision. So to protect yourself, you want to make sure you're choosing someone who is not going to turn you into a victim. So make sure that the tax preparer reviews your tax return with you to ensure that you know your refund amount, that the refund is actually going into your bank account and not the bank account of the tax preparer. Also, it's important to note that you need to know your refund amount when you go to irs.gov to check the status of your refund.
That way you can track it and you can watch it hopefully hit your bank account.
Correct.
And know the exact amount.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Supervisory Special Agent Allison Cleveland with the IRS, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.